Well, this topic about lenders using the social web for due diligence is trending on Property Tribes, and what better than for us to get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, and ask a lender if they actually use the web for due diligence when they're looking at a prospective borrower. And I'm joined by Karen Bennett from Shawbrook Bank. And Karen, would Shawbrook type a prospective borrower's name into Google and see what comes up?
Yeah, effectively, what's important here is when you're doing due diligence on any application, it's trying to look at the information you're provided with, but also do some separate sense checks. So everybody would know that the lenders would utilise credit searches and other searches that would be available. And it's obviously a sensible option for the lender to also utilise the internet and do that sense check to see what is on there around that individual or that business if we're lending to a business. So yeah, we do the Google search and kind of and look at what is there about that customer. Often there's some very favourable stuff which again can help to paint the picture with regards to that customer, their business, what they've done in the past. You're getting to see a lot more Google reviews and feedback, which can really help to strengthen an application. But equally, you can see some other things that will raise questions that you need to ask with those customers directly before deciding whether you want to proceed with that transaction.
I'm so glad that you raised that point about it can be favourable as well, because this really encourages ethical people, and everybody to play it with a straight bat, because ultimately that will help weed out the people that are not being ethical in what they're doing. I mean, are there any particular red flags that you might be concerned about, such as somebody having discussions about how to structure no money down deals, or somebody looking to raise JV money for a deposit for a buy-to-let property? Are those the kind of red flags that you might be looking for?
They would be, anything that kind of doesn't have the customer's best interests at heart is something that we're going to have sensitivities around. And, where that you've got sort of property firms that are acting as supporting, and there is an end customer there that perhaps is not getting the advice that they should be getting. I think the point is whilst they wouldn't necessarily be, they're going to be flags that they're always going to be amber flags, because you're going to need to speak to that person to understand what's behind them. The internet search should never be something that a lender just turns around and says, right, we don't want to move any further, because you should be given the rights to reply to that. And obviously the internet, that you can, it's a service that's available, and people can write things on there that simply aren't true. So you have to make sure that whilst that might flag something, that you spend the time to sit with that customer or speak to that customer over the phone via a broker if there is a broker involved, and talk around, well, what has happened there? Let us understand that. And this does come down to the point of disclosure right from the start, because if you're aware of it before you see it, then obviously you've got the full picture and you know what you're looking for. Whereas if you've been told that there are that it's just a fantastic application and that there's nothing that's kind of untoward with it, and you find something, then that always will raise suspicion with, well, what else is there that we might not understand? So that full sort of transparency is quite important, and I would really recommend that people are upfront with situations that they've had in the past, and make sure that they speak to us and are honest and open about that.
That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for your input on this topic, Karen, because I think, you hit on such a valid point that it's actually very healthy to be able to do due diligence on somebody just to confirm facts and truth, and that is of benefit to ethical people that are behaving in an ethical manner. And if the lenders do intense due diligence and use the tools at hand that the web provides, then it is going to root out some of the rogues and the con men, isn't it? And that's better for all of us.
Yeah, and that's got to be the priority with it. But equally, with the lending institutions, it's making sure if a client has been upfront with regards to troubles they've had in the past, and there is a reasonable explanation for that, and that's something that you can get comfortable with, then the Google search or any kind of extra searches and additional searches won't come as a surprise, and you can work with those. But ultimately, we do need to do as many searches as we can to try and find out these unfavourable applicants that ultimately do give the market a poorer name, which is unfair to everybody who's doing things with integrity and honesty.
Very good point. Well, thank you so much for joining us in this trending topic. It's been really helpful to have the input of Shawbrook Bank. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.